Hoosier Nation, what's up? Scott Dolson has his man. Darian Devries is the new head basketball coach of Indiana University by way of West Virginia. Kind of a shocker to most of the fan base, I think. With Darian Devries, a lot of people are going to, the Jeff Goodmans of the world are going to, they've named every person under the sun, but really DeVries' name did not pop up until the last 24 hours or so. And we don't know how long that this has been going on, Ben, but, Dolson has his man. And I think we may differ on the excitement levels of this hire. But I'm going to start us off on a positive note. I want to say this to everybody that's listening. Darian Devries is the basketball coach at Indiana University. I've got no reason to have anything against the guy at this point. We're starting at a 10, and we're going to see where it goes from there. But I'm excited about it. I think the one thing and I'll bring you in here, Ben, is the one thing I know is true is he can coach basketball based on what I've witnessed and watching him at Drake and at West Virginia. With it, people will sit there and say, oh, they didn't make the tournament this year. They also did lose their best player, had several injuries down the stretch, and, took a team with 9 wins last year and had 19 and really probably should have made the tournament this year. So were you surprised by the hire?
Yeah, I did say in one of these podcasts that I did think it'd be someone that we didn't talk about, and he was on none of our lists. None of our lists. I really wanted Beard or I wanted Beard, but we didn't get him. A couple of things I was a little surprised about. One is how much we paid him.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Before you even go in, it ain't our money. So if Indiana thinks that they can pay him, that's irrelevant. They could pay him $60 million. It doesn't matter.
It's not irrelevant because then it makes the buyout longer. We have to get rid of him.
Well, if we're starting out, if we're already firing him, then he's dead on arrival. I will say, Beard was never going to happen. That was dead on arrival. It was, I'm not going to litigate that again, but it wasn't just what's out there in the public eye. There's multiple reasons why Chris Beard was not considered. And, we'll see. Maybe somebody bigger will give him a shot at some point. But, Darian Devries, just for a background check on him, spent 17 years at Creighton as an assistant. He's 49 years old. And he was at Drake for 6 years. And went to the NCAA tournament 3 of those years at Drake. And, that conference, you got to win the league tournament there, and then made the transition to West Virginia this year. And I think by all accounts, they've been in the news because, West Virginia didn't get in. North Carolina, who's getting ready to tip off here in about 25 minutes, did, right? So he should really be coaching right now. But because North Carolina's AD is not, now he's the coach at Indiana. So it's funny how things work. Indiana was the second. They were the 70th team not in, and West Virginia was 69th. Now his son, Tucker DeVries, who's going to apply for medical hardship, and he only played 8 games this year, so I think they give those out like candy. He should be coming with his dad, but he's a hell of a player. He was out since December 6th, and you're looking at a team that should have been much better. They were at Atlantis when Indiana was there, if you remember, way back into Thanksgiving time, and West Virginia beat that Gonzaga team that beat the dog crap out of Indiana. And I remember that game saying, damn, I wish we played like West Virginia. Well, now maybe we will. But, what I can tell from DeVries is, he wants to get up. And I watched, I don't know if you caught any, but the Field of 68 had Doug McDermott on, right? And so for those of you that don't know Doug McDermott, right, 11-year pro, player of the year at Creighton.
Is he not still
He is. Yeah, he's 11-year NBA still. And he could not say anything more positive about DeVries. That he's a worker, he's a basketball coach. He played, his brother played in the NFL, apparently, Darian DeVries. He's a competitor. It's something to be said. Like, this is a guy that played at Northern Iowa. He said he would get in it when he was an assistant, obviously a little bit younger days. He said when they didn't have enough guys, he'd get in there and play and talk shit. So that's the type of guy I want to hear, right? I don't think Indiana was going to have, this wasn't going to be the glitz and glam home run hire. This wasn't going to be the Brad Stevens. it wasn't going to be the Jay Wright. It wasn't going to be the name. What it just wasn't. And maybe someday Indiana gets back to that, but maybe this is what gets Indiana back to what it needs. Because at the end of the day, we haven't had anybody that can coach basketball in damn near 8 years. They really just weren't a tactician. And I feel like DeVries is that. I mean, on the court, I feel like he passed that.
So your Cricket Wireless is cutting out.
Out there. You back, Ben? Are we back?
Hold on.
All right. Think we lost Ben there for a second. Hopefully you're all still with me, and we'll sorry about into the stage, but we'll hey, just Indiana working through a coaching search. We'll figure this thing out. So
I'm back.
You back in?
I think.
Okay, you're back. You're back. Okay. So what we were saying is, well, I don't know if it's me or you, but this happened last time, so it's concerning. So apologies to the listeners out there. Hopefully you got us back, Fred. But Ben, I was saying, DeVries is a tactician, right? He's an X's and O's guy, hard worker, says all the right things. We're back in business. Fred says we're good. So, your initial thoughts on him. I mean, I won't sit here and I've watched several of his games, but I'm not, he wasn't in the Big Ten. He wasn't, I wasn't watching as much Big 12 this year, but I did watch several of his games, watched him against Cincinnati, all that. So what are your thoughts on him just as an in-game coach?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be 100% honest. I haven't seen West Virginia play a whole lot. But he sounds great in his interviews. He kind of looks the part. People say he's a tireless worker, which I want to hear because I think the job, requires around-the-clock work. One of the things I see that kind of I don't like at all in today's basketball is the three-point percentage. And I know his son can shoot threes. I'm going to say that before. His son's a great three-point.
He was 47% on the year before he got hurt, just saying.
47%. But with him being 47%, with his 47%, the rest of the team was only 32%. And I really wanted our next coach to focus on shooting. And he might not have players yet.
I want to ask, how many of those guys? I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna have to do a deeper dive. When we go live when this happens, how many of those guys did DeVries actually recruit? How many of those guys were? I'm gonna dive deeper into that of how many of those guys were at West Virginia and stayed. Right, I think that's important because Indiana's about to go through that. If you haven't seen the news yet, Gabe Cupps, Malik Renew are already in the transfer portal. Doesn't mean they're not coming back to Indiana. But they are in the portal, and I don't blame them. If I was a player at Indiana, I'd already be in the portal so I can talk to the coach and see. Luke Goody has already come out with fire, saying he's all in. Trent Sisley, who's our freshman commit, is all in. So I think those are positives when you see this guy come in. So, but I want to look back at DeVries of, how many of these guys did he bring over with him from Drake? How many of these guys were people that he were able to keep around? They've got some guys, though, recruited for next year. One of the things for them, they've already got a kid, Don McLean, son, if you remember him back from the 90s, UCLA, was committed to West Virginia. He's decommitted from West Virginia. You got to think DeVries is already all over him like a pit bull on a poodle to try to get him to Indiana. So, I think, he went from the time he took the Indiana job, West Virginia's dropped from 23rd to 39 in recruiting rankings. So I think, Indiana's going to have to be all right. But it sounds like the guys that are coming to Indiana are coming to Indiana, right? I think it's the Slovenian kid, Bosnian kid. I'm sorry, Hernan or whatever, and Trent Sicily from Indiana, and then Luke Goody, and then Tucker DeVries, Darian Devries' son. So there's something there already, and we'll see what probably while we're on this stream, there will be maybe somebody enter the portal. But your thoughts on him just being able to act the part, come in. He's got a press conference 11:30 tomorrow. It's pretty quick.
11:30 in the morning.
11:30, Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Well, you know how this works. We've done it for. This is the third.
And I really hope it works. I really hope it works this time. I don't love the hire, but I want it to work, obviously. But
can I ask you this? Because I know we were trading texts, and you were not. There were people crashing out. Right? They thought it was going to be Brad Brownell. Then they thought it was going to be Ben McCall.
Yeah.
Right. Which is basically Darian DeVries probably 5 years ago. Right. Except he didn't have the D2 experience, but came from Drake. And, these names and the other. And DeVries, I've yet to really find something. One thing I don't have, I can't find any assault allegations. I can't find any arrest reports. I can't find any stalking. I can't find any paying money, having money laundering schemes and all that type of stuff. So in terms of, and I get it, but there is a certain point in time where people that make decisions and make the big bucks have to decide who's going to be the face of our university. And they feel like Darian DeVries. One note I did see, his daughter for Indiana women's basketball is a class of 2027, said she's a stud. So Terry Moore might be getting a nice little gift there in a couple of years for that. I did read. But yeah, DeVries' brother played in the NFL. I got to look up that.
And he played point guard, right? So he was a floor general. Like that.
And he wasn't a 5'8" point guard either. So
there are some things to like about it. And when the Eagles hired Nick Sirianni, I didn't know what to think of that because I didn't really know. When a coordinator becomes a head coach, you don't really know what to expect. And hey, man, the guy's been knocking it out of the park. He's got a great roster. People always mention that, but he's still got to put it together. So I mean, I'm hoping for the best. But I will say the people with a little bit of mud on their names are all in the tournament. And one of those is a number 1 seed. So I will say I like it a little muddy, Charm. I do. I like it a little muddy. Get me muddy. Get me in the tourney.
Well, that ship has sailed. Darian DeVries is the coach. It is pronounced Darren. It is not Darian.
It is.
For those out there, it is Darian DeVries. DeVries, right? And so far I've been combing the Twitter sphere or X sphere. I've seen Doug McDermott. I've seen Greg McDermott. I've seen an AAU coach from Indiana said he's an effing beast on the recruiting trail, right? And again, like when this happens, of course, I'm not seeing a lot of like home run hire or anything like this. What I'm seeing is, he can relate to kids. He can do these things. I mean, we got Malik Renew has posted an Instagram story. I mean, what do we got here? Malik says he wants to thank Coach Woodson and the entire staff for giving me an opportunity to play for the University of Indiana. Jesus Christ. It's Indiana University, Malik. You've been there for 3 fucking years. Sorry. Get it right. Sorry. Like, I'm just sick of people doing that, especially somebody that just played there. I'll miss the fans and the great people in Bloomington. I've chosen to enter the portal. He's gone. Okay, see ya. You don't even know where you played. So, see you, Malik. You're done. You did nothing at Indiana. Good luck to you. Sorry.
No.
Sorry, not sorry.
No.
You can't even get the damn school right. You're out. Sorry.
He was a pretty good player. We could use him. We could use him.
Well,
he's a bucket if his knee's working.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he does at the next school he goes to. So, I'm sorry, University of Indiana, and you played at Indiana University and you can't get it right. I'm sorry. Apologies for the F-bomb there, but that just ticks me off. But yeah, Malik Renew's gone. Like, who do you want back from this team? Who do you want back?
No one. If Renew's gone, I want one person. I'll take Goody, I guess.
I think Goody, yeah.
Miles Rice was terrible.
Nope.
Keenan Carlisle was terrible. Ja'Kai Newton, I still don't know if he's any good.
Yeah. I think it's good. It's going to be a complete overhaul. You got your freshmen. You've got a few, recruits coming in. You got.
I would assume Mbako and Tucker next.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Mbako, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Darian Devries. I think one thing that's interesting.
I would keep Mbako.
Yeah, well,
He's very talented.
Fred's chiming in here in the comments. He says, great hire, winner, passes the IU Halo test, which is that, Ben, that's what you don't like, right? Is that Halo test. $6.1 million buyout to West Virginia. Overall positive situation in Fred's opinion. I would agree with you, Fred. I think it's there's not enough to be mad about this or upset unless you wanted an unrealistic hire. And, quite frankly, if we wanted to hire Bruce Pearl or Chris Beard, we should have done it 10 years ago, and we didn't. Like, you can say, like, the Beard stuff, man, they're just, Indiana's just a non-starter, man. They're just not going to do it. And if you go and, I don't know if you listen to Search Season, but they had a Texas A&M and Texas, dude, Curry Hicks Sage, this guy's plugged in. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 incidents that have come up from Lubbock and Texas with the same woman with Beard that I'm sure Indiana knew about and was like, yeah, we can't do it. They just can't, right? Like Ole Miss was willing to take the chance, like Indiana's just not. So that's done. I mean, I think DeVries, you were saying earlier, it reminds you kind of like the Mark Pope. Let's say DeVries had played at Indiana. It's a very similar, like Mark Pope came from BYU to Kentucky. There were a lot of questions, and he's a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament with a bunch of transfers. So I mean, it can get done. Look at the resources. Can you go find another Malik Renew? Yeah, I need some dudes that are tough. Go get the ball long. Like Malik Renew don't want to go get the ball when times get tough. He's had some good moments, but not anything really to write home about.
Yeah, I just think with the money we paid, we could have done better. But that's just my opinion. $6 million.
I mean, it's not like you lost Trace Jackson Davis.
No, I'm just talking
at the University of Indiana.
I'm just talking about the coach. We gave him $6 million a year. He's the 5th highest paid coach in the country. Yeah, you don't care. But we have to get rid of this Joe Schmo in 3 years. We're going to have to pay him crazy money. We're going to get freaking Sally from down the street to coach the team.
Okay, so we're already firing him. That's a typical Indiana fan, though. They're already, it's doom and gloom. There's no positive. Like when we hired Mike Woodson, we all knew we were screwed.
When we hired Archie,
when he walked into that, if Darian Devries walks in that press conference tomorrow and he says, if you want to hire Darian Devries, you come and talk to a Darian Devries, then yes, we're screwed. I don't think we're going to hear that tomorrow.
You got to talk to me.
Yeah, you got to come talk. Well, you know what, Woodson? I wonder what he's thinking right now.
He's probably thinking that team was up 1 spot from my team. I mean, that's what I would be thinking.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a first take argument on ESPN. Like, nobody talks about that West Virginia lost, like, literally got gutted. They had 9 wins. They were last in the Big 12. And DeVries more than doubled their win total and should have been in the tournament if Bubba Cunningham's not on. They should be playing right now, at least. Like most brackets, they have 111 of 111 on Bracket Matrix, West Virginia in. So what I can say to them, Bubba Cunningham, thank you, because if DeVries was not available, maybe he doesn't become the Indiana coach.
Now, let me ask you a question. Are you worried about him leaving West Virginia after 1 year?
No.
Okay. It's a fair question. It's a fair question.
And I'll tell you why. Because he spent 17 years at Creighton. He was at Drake for 6. He got a Power 5 offer. And, he grew up in the Midwest. He probably got double the money that he's making at West Virginia, if not more. You've got the stats there. What was he making at West Virginia?
I don't know what he was making. I'm just looking.
hey, we don't know what happened in Morgantown, right? I mean, whatever. I mean, Pat McAfee swears by Morgantown. I'm sure it's a great place, but he's closer to home. He's a Midwest recruiting guy, so played at West Virginia. Pac-Man Jones, Pat McAfee, Pat White, that's about it. So, Pittsnoggle was good at West Virginia, so they had some teams. But end of the day, man, I think, like, the more I read, I guess, I'll say this, the more I read about DeVries, the more intrigued I am. Is he Jay Wright? Is he Brad Stevens? No. But what if 5 years from now he's one of the top coaches there's so many coaches like that. Look at Todd Golden. Nobody knew who the hell he was 2 years ago outside of him, stalking people on Instagram, allegedly, right? That's what pops up. Now he's, what is he, a number 1 seed?
And he's young.
Nobody knew who Grant McCaslin was. We didn't. Now, here's the thing we didn't do. We didn't go hire the coach that goes on a run this week, and you get the Archie Miller syndrome. Look at what somebody put a stat up about Dayton, right? When Archie was there, Dayton was already successful before Archie got there. Drake was not successful until DeVries got there. And then now McCollum's successful. You think that wasn't built by DeVries? Absolutely it was. Right? So what I'm seeing, and again, then he goes to West Virginia and he goes from 9 to 19 wins. If he comes to Indiana and goes from 19 to 24, which is what this team should have probably won this year, I mean, that's what you want, is the progression and the consistency. You want the Purdue 10 years. Like, to me, DeVries is more of a guy that's going to go to battle with Painter in an X and O's battle versus Woodson that's not, unless it's out of a timeout. I will always give Woodson credit. Out of a timeout, he could get you an open look. He had that NBA part in him.
Hey, I just got a quick question real quick.
Yeah.
What do you think Hurley's buyout is?
Danny Hurley?
Yeah.
I mean, 20 million probably. I don't know.
42 million.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, like, you're not going to get that. So I know you were texting with a former Hoosier tonight, and that they have they know DeVries a bit. What were they thinking?
They say he was a hell of a coach.
Yeah. Tactician, bulldog, right? Just gets after it. So, you've got, I think this is what Indiana fans have to do. They've got to rally around this guy, right? And it seems like he's not the rah-rah. He's not a Tom Allen. Like, Archie Miller was a dick, right? Tom Allen was like rah-rah. Kurt Cignetti's kind of a dick, but he gets it, and he can be personable. I feel like DeVries, I'm not saying he's Cignetti. We don't have to make him all in that mold. But DeVries seems kind of like no nonsense, but gets it, but can actually, like, have a conversation with people.
Yeah.
Because that's what you have to do at IU. You have to be part of the community. You have to, the fans like us that are doing this on a Tuesday night at 9:30, when we don't have to, you've got to connect with us. I know you're already in his direct messages, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to get him on the show.
Yeah. Before he figures out that. I wonder, hopefully, please, for the love of God, DeVries, do not say University of Indiana tomorrow in the press conference. Because I will completely turn on you in a hot second. In case you're just joining, Malik Renew in his Instagram post called it the University of Indiana. And as a proud graduate, that makes my skin crawl.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's be honest. I don't know how much class these students are going to these days, but
you got to know where the hell you're going to school. Jesus.
Do you?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I know. Instant reaction to me is that was the other thing I wanted to bring up. I keep saying another thing that's coming. Like, we weren't expecting this today. Is McDermott's coaching tree. Greg McDermott. I mean, he's got some guys, which DeVries is. TJ Otzelberger. Multiple guys in the NCAA tournament. Because I would recommend to anybody out there, if you get a chance, whatever you think of Jeff Goodman and Field of 68, Doug McDermott was on with, the younger, the NBA player, was on with John Fanta and Jeff Goodman earlier tonight talking about DeVries. And it's about 20 minutes. It's not all about DeVries, but the bulk of it is. And like the guy was lights up when he talks. And this was like, me calling you on the phone. It was unsolicited. This wasn't like set up, right? Like this was just a guy talking about, somebody he respects, a coach that was, big on him. He said he wouldn't be an NBA player if it wasn't for DeVries. So that is what I'm excited about. He may not be the sexiest name, but he could be in a couple of years where people are like, damn, Indiana knocked that out of the park. And, maybe West Virginia hires the dude from Utah State. I think that's probably what's going to happen there. And maybe Iowa does end up hiring Ben McCollum. But, Ben McCollum was making the media rounds yesterday. That sounds like a guy that wants to stay at Drake a little while, quite frankly. He doesn't sound like a guy that is going to jump at the – but, yeah, I don't – I will say this to your question about DeVries, about the 1 year and leaving West Virginia. If he leaves Indiana for another job, that means he won at Indiana. Like to leave Indiana to go to another job, it means a better job. It means you won here. So I'm not worried about him leaving, and I'm sure his buyout is, pretty strong. So, I mean, I don't have any concerns about that.
He also coached with Dana Altman, which is pretty good. Dana Altman's
that was the other kid. Yeah, he was originally on the staff with Dana Altman, Greg McDermott. Two guys that have, they're both in the NCAA tournament. They both advanced. So, the guy knows how to coach basketball. Now, does he know what he's getting into with a couple nut jobs like us and the other hundreds of thousands of IU fans? I don't know. But I think Indiana fans are pretty reasonable. They're very knowledgeable. Yes, there's the dregs of society that are sliding in the customers' DMs. And, maybe I blew up on Malik there, but I just, that was, at least know where you're going to school. I'll beat that dead horse into the rest of the show. But I'm really excited about DeVries being able to put maybe we have to go live again tomorrow after the press conference, and maybe we'll be singing a different tune. But what does he do on the staff? Because if you looked at what his staff is from West Virginia,
no.
So Chester Frazier, you remember him? Chester Frazier,
no.
Played against Eric Gordon at Illinois. They got into it, a little dust up. He was a point guard at Illinois. Chester Frazier, so go look that up. He's his head assistant. So Chester Frazier's going to come put an IU quarter zip on. That could be interesting. Tom Ostrom, remember him? He was on Archie Miller's staff. I mean, talk about awkward. Hey, Tom, I'm not bringing you. I don't know. Corey Ball. I think he's going to probably bring him. That would be weird, but you pay me enough, I'll go back there. I have heard rumors that Cliffy Marshall's gone already, that's done. That he won't be back as a strength and conditioning coach. I can't corroborate that, but I'm pretty certain of that. Watford's already on social media saying he's all in. He was out there stumping for Will Wade. That's what a true Hoosier is, folks. Christian Watford was stumping for Will Wade on social media all last weekend. And as soon as DeVries was hired, he's like, hey, I didn't get my way, but I'm all in. He's a great coach. Like, we can go and do this, right? Like, that's what we need. That's what we need from the fan base. And, like, I'm not sitting here and telling you that DeVries is going to come in and win a championship the first year, but maybe he will. A Big Ten champion. I mean, Dusty May did it in Michigan, Big Ten tournament. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can flip this around pretty quickly. I mean, look at, what you can, I mean, and Ben, Indiana has 3 weeks now before this whole like revenue sharing NIL deal gets in. So they got a chance to beat some of these teams that are playing this week to the punch. Like, get some of these guys already over from West Virginia or the recruiting classes or wherever, Drake, whatever, and get them committed, get their NIL deals in place before this revenue sharing stuff goes in. Get his son his NIL deal in, right? Because he's going to be our best player next year, most likely. I mean, the guy averaged like 18 points a game for his career. So I'm just excited. Clearly, you can tell.
Not even on your list. Not even on your list. I'm still excited. I give it to you. I want to get there.
I said it was going to be McCollum, this is a version of McCollum, but he was the coach before McCollum. So there is a 6 degrees of separation. Do I get any credit for that? I don't think so. But no, I don't think. I mean, I was Crimson Cast. Those guys, Galen and Scott. I mean, they were saying, yeah, that was like the one guy they didn't do a preview on, right? And then all these, all the white boy media comes out today. Oh yeah, we had DeVries. All that bullshit. You didn't have DeVries till he found out Iowa has $300,000 in NIL. He said, "Yeah, I'm out." Iowa. I go out and check X.com from Iowa last night. Oh, DeVries is coming home. Da, da, da. Now today, oh, we didn't want him anyway. We want McCollum. Well, you won't get him either. So good luck, Iowa. I don't think they'll get him either. There's a lot, but it's refreshing. It's refreshing in this, Ben. I want to get your thoughts on this. It's refreshing that we don't have to, this isn't after a game. We don't have to worry about, they only played for 12 minutes. Like, Woodson's done. It's done. Thank him for his service. Next year, though, Marquette in Chicago, November 9th. I feel like we might have to be there.
We have boots on the ground.
Big game. I'm going. That's where my company's base is in Chicago. I'll plan a work trip around that for sure.
You're actually closer to Bloomington.
I know, but I want to go to a big game. The first game in Bloomington's going to be.
I'm still scarred from my Auburn game, so I'm going to wait a couple more years.
So I'll tell you this. 2 things about the last 2 hires when I knew it was bad. Archie Miller, I went to the first game of the Archie Miller, and I sat behind the bench because there was a recruit that went with us. And Tom Ostrom, who might be on this next staff, had no idea who the person we brought to the game was. It was a top 50 player in the country, by the way. He didn't know who he was, I should have known at that point. And Indiana gets beat by Indiana State by 25 points. I was like, should have known that night. Archie Miller hire, a dud. And then when Mike Woodson said, well, when you want to talk to Mike Woodson, you come talk to Mike Woodson. I was like, oh, shit, we're screwed. So, Darian Devries, tomorrow, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, just give the canned answers. Read the talking points before you go on stage. Call it Indiana University. Say your wife's the rock star of the family, whatever the hell you got to say. Just hit all the talking points. Don't make any waves, and let's get to coaching ball. What say you, Ben?
I just need a drink and some sleep, and maybe I can get on board tomorrow.
I don't know that you're not on board, and I'm okay with that. I don't think you're not on board. I just think you wanted somebody else.
I really want the next coach to value shooting. I feel like we haven't valued shooting in years. And when I looked up the stats for shooting, it was a little scary. I'm not going to lie. So I hope with the team we have next year, we can shoot the basketball. I'm sick of Brickfest. I don't want to be shooting 20% from 3-point range. I just want to be able to see a team that can actually put the ball in the basket. Is that too much to ask?
No, it's fine. But
I'm not asking to go to the Final Four next year. I just want to make the tournament and make some shots.
Yeah, I think, what you need to look at, though, is let's go back to Drake of 2 years ago. So looking at that, they averaged 79.9 points per game, which was 41st out of 362. Pretty dang good. Right. Offensive rating, 30th out of 362.
Why are you not telling me what the for the rings?
I'm getting to where it's at. This is just the defensive rating, 90th of 362. Right. Okay. Points against, 123rd out of 62. Right. I'm just reading these off the cuff. Okay. Let's look for the season here. 3-point percentage, 35th in the country. 36.6%. So 35th in the country. 35th from 3 in the country. And they shot 50th out of 362. So that's what, top 8%?
So what was their actual 3-point percentage?
36.6 as a team.
Okay.
right? And I mean,
who's Corey Barnett?
So he's a former Hoosier that Watford wanted. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of IU connections on the staff, which scares me a bit. But he's bounced around. He's been with Alford. He's been with DeVries. That was what Walford. He was at IU when I think he was a walk-on when Zeller and Watford and them were there, because Watford was singing his praises. And like, I'm not saying Indiana shouldn't have some Indiana guys on staff, connections, things of that, but here's some things I want. Just a wish list.
Hey, did you hold on one thing real quick?
No, you're good.
Did you see what McDermott said? Besides, he said, "Welcome to the pressure cooker." Did you see that?
For sure. Yeah. There's no doubt. Hey, we're going to pay you $6 million a year and we expect to win. Like, that's fine by me. Like, there should be pressure.
What were you saying?
Hell, I don't know. What was I talking about?
You were talking about the 3 things or something.
Oh, what I want to see.
Yeah,
okay.
What you want to see.
I've asked this every hire and it never happens. Can we please, coach, get the students closer down?
Does the coach make that decision, or would that be the athletic?
He should. Get rid of the uniforms. Get new ones. Get new uniforms.
Get rid of Adidas.
You can't get rid of that. Get new uniforms. Okay? Make it. There was no juice in the Indiana program. Give us some juice. Get rid of the sand pit. Get rid of the Lake Monroe fishing trips with Cliffy Marshall. Stop. Let's play some goddamn basketball. Okay? Can we just, like, I'm going to say this.
Can we make it be new age basketball? Can we get excited? Can we get some? Can we get a DJ where we don't put him on the ceiling?
I'm just saying, like, the guy plays with pace, scored 80 points a game his last year at Drake. I don't know what the makeup of the roster was with West Virginia, of who was there and who wasn't. That's for, people much smarter than me, like Coach Adranya, to get, he's going to have a clip of DeVries for 40 minutes off of Synergy by the end of the night and answer all your questions on what's there. But it starts right away. Like, press conference tomorrow. Let's get some commits. And Malik Renew, wish you all the best, but you're out. Like, I read that statement. Gabe Cupp says he's monitoring what's going on in Indiana. Well, you can monitor it from the OVC, bro, because we don't need it.
Oh, God.
Like, you can monitor it from somewhere else. Mackenzie and Baco, like, Tucker DeVries plays the same position as you do, so not going to play over him.
We could use Baco. You got to have some talent.
I mean, he's gonna get players, bro. Don't worry about it. Now I'm talking like my son and his buddy.
Oh my God, you're talking like Darren Breeze.
Shout out to Darren Breeze, by the way. 5th region champs, KHSA, going to Rep Arena back-to-back years. Feel the breeze. One of our loyal listeners.
Feel the
he's
breeze.
Not on tonight, but yeah, Javon Small. So West Virginia had 8 transfers this year. So he got guys from Washington State, Oklahoma State, Fresno State, Illinois, and his son's 6'7", 210. Like, he should be playing the 4 in today's basketball, quite frankly. I want a dude that can block shots and go get the damn ball. And I want a 4 that can shoot. I want a 3 that can shoot. I want a 2 that can shoot. And I want a 1 that controls the game. And if they can shoot, great. But they don't have to. I need 3 guys on the floor that can knock down threes. I need a rim protector that's athletic. Like Ballo, I mean, it's kind of built like me, just a foot taller.
Yeah, but Ballo did protect the rim at times. He did.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, yeah, it looked like if I was 7 foot.
Where Jackson Davis were just better.
Yeah, I mean, like, I want, like, you're going to see it. when you like, I was watching VCU Memphis the other day, and those teams aren't all that good, but they got some athletes that can protect the damn rim, and they go get the ball.
Oh, welcome to SEC basketball. That's where we're at. Protect the rim.
I mean, we got to get some dudes, man. We got to get some dudes, and I mean, if anything, it shows me DeVries brought in 8 transfers last year. He had the 23rd class again. McLean's already decommitted. I got to think. I mean, I'm not following Twitter right now, but I mean, hell, we might have a commit tonight. Who knows? The way the world works. I mean, the portal's not even open yet, except we got guys that can go in there. Often Donald, our boy, he said, anyone else I would correct it, but go be great, Malik. I'm sorry, Often Donald. University of Indiana, I don't care if Bob Knight said it. I'm gonna call him out on it. Like, it's just Greg Doyle, stop. I mean, that guy's written like 15 different articles trying to get this hire right. No one had this. The first person that said it was last night, which I'm going to jump on that space here in a bit. I recommend anybody listening to this. Curry Hicks Sage. Jump in his Twitter spaces tonight. It's going to be rocking search season. SEARCHSZN is the hashtag on Twitter or the X.com. It's good. That's where I got all that beard stuff. The guy came on from Texas Tech, and Texas is like, yeah. Like Texas Tech told Texas about this incident and this incident, and they didn't listen. And then he actually did go to jail for the things they told him about. And that's why Indiana should be careful. And I'm sure Scott Dolson heard that and was done. So it's the last I'll say about it. Who can I ask one more thing? West Virginia's roster. Is there anybody we want there? Have you looked into that at all?
They really got the son and that other guy, but the other guy's a senior. I don't think he can come
back.
But
I mean, you know how it goes with the senior now. Is he a 5th-year senior or is he Luke Goody?
I don't know. I think he's a senior.
Yeah, Javon Small. Javon Small's from South Bend. He's 21, 22. So he didn't. I don't think he has a COVID year. So yeah, he's out. Damn it.
What's that UNC score?
Hopefully they're getting their brains kicked in. You know me, I always got the 2 TVs rocking here behind the. They're up by 7. Damn it. They're probably gonna go on a run. Good for them. Hubert Davis, I mean, they stuck with us. So, yeah, we've already gone 45 minutes here. Yeah. So, Indiana hires DeVries. Sorry about the audio issues. We went out for 2 minutes. I'll figure out how to fix that in the podcast, or I may just let it rip and people can figure it out for themselves. But be happy, Hoosier Nation. Be happy. We may be back tomorrow after this. If he says University of Indiana in the press conference, Ben, I'm going to go on live at noon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.